katok, katok. I love using Korean emoticons. It's very difficult to translate emoticons. There's no way to put them through a translator. So I was sending one to this person who is a CEO of a big company in Korea. I sent an emoticon that said, and I didn't know that that's what it said. I thought it said something else. Hey, so today I want to talk about the emoticons that I use because I love using Korean emoticons. People in Korea are always surprised because I have so many that I like. I buy them, other people buy them for me because they send me their favorite emoticons, and so it's really a lot of fun. And I have probably 25 or 30 that I use all the time.
Katok. Katok.
Right? Katok. Katok. When I share my katok with Koreans, so many Koreans are surprised that I'm on katok. And I'm connected to so many people, like hundreds of people on katok, because it's just really easy. I always like saying katok, and then people always say like, what? I say katok. And then Koreans will say, wait, do you mean kakaotalk? And I'm like, yeah, but you say katok. So I say katok. But they don't expect me to say that, But I started using it because I like to use the messaging apps a lot, much more than email. And I realized that Koreans have katok that they use. And a long time ago, like 7 years ago. And so as soon as I realized, I downloaded it, and then I would always just ask people what their phone numbers were, their user ID or something. And it just makes it so easy to use. And now in katok, I think I have about 250 friends and acquaintances on katok. Yeah. I've been communicating with people around the world for 40 years. And I know that what you want to do to effectively communicate with people is to use whatever platform it is that they use. Because what they're comfortable with is what they're going to like to use. And so for me, every new app that I learn is an opportunity to expand my mind. And so once I start communicating with Koreans in KakaoTalk, it's so much faster because they know it so well, and we can send so many things back and forth. When I'm in Korea and I'm watching people online, like maybe I'm in the subway or whatever, first off, the thing that's most noticeable is everybody's on Korean platforms, man. Everyone's on Korean platforms. Like nobody's on, because I'm always looking over people's shoulders and seeing what they're looking at, because that's how I am as a person, because I want to know, right? I'm always sociologizing. So I'd be like, you got your phone, and I'm kind of hanging on to the strap, and I'm looking, and I'm like checking out, and everyone's on Korean platforms. And then what I discovered were all the emojis and emoticons that people were using. They would send me these emoticons, and I would say, oh, okay, that's cool. How do I find those? And then I remember downloading my first emoticons, and then I showed somebody and they said, oh my God, you need these. And then they bought some other ones for me. And then before I knew it, I had lots and lots of emoticons. And you can say so many things with a simple emoticon. So many things. And I learned that I can just, sometimes I have conversations with Koreans just in emoticons. They send one, then I send one, and they send one, and I send another one, and then we've finished our conversation with 4 emoticons. The way I pick my emojis is based really on what's useful to me, like less kind of what's cute and more what's useful. This one, are you there, right? I can send that out. When I'm wanting to do that, I often use this also. I'll send that first, and then I'll send a message to somebody. These are my golf emojis, or emoticons, and these are ones that I use a fair amount. This is one that I like a lot. I use it a lot. Just feels good. This I use a lot. This actually, excitement, I use that one a fair amount. That's kind of cool. This ape one is good. This one I use a lot. The laughter, the laughing apes. But you know, what's interesting about some of these is if they don't have words, I don't know what they mean. Like this one right here. I don't know what that means. And I know Koreans have an idea for what it means, but I don't. Or this one right here. Or that one right there. I'm just not sure exactly how to interpret the facial features, right? This has the question marks, so that's more clear to me. I don't know, and sometimes I just use them and I ask people, hey, what, you know, that's how I learn about the emojis. So this is one that I use all the time, right here, when somebody thanks me for something, and I want to say, hey, no problem. Again, the laughing one, laughter is used a lot. This I use a fair amount. This, it's okay. Right? This is sort of even better than okay. I like this, but I find that, you know, I don't see people using a lot of emojis or emoticons with alcohol. You know, that just doesn't seem very common, so I don't use it a lot. I think that's also really interesting about emoticons, and this is kind of unique to Koreans, I think. A lot of emoticons are like cute, you know? And men that I communicate with, other professors and sometimes, you know, like business people, or they will send these really cute emoticons that in the United States, the only people that would use those emoticons are like 12 or 13-year-old girls, right? And I'm sending this cute emoticon to the CEO of a big Korean corporation, and the CEO sends another one back to me that in the US, a 12-year-old girl would send. Nobody else would ever send. And I really love that. I love that about Koreans. So here's another interesting thing about Korea. You know, you have this kind of masculine like culture in a way, right? Korean men are very stiff. They can be very stiff, right? But Korean men they'll send these emoticons around that, again, they're like 12-year-old girls in the West would use, right? So there's kind of this soft spot. And I think the emoticons allow men in particular, but women also, but men, it allows us to express something that's kind of really cute and nice and soft. And I think that's really important because that's a part of all human beings and it has to come out in some kind of way. Here's a funny story. You know, because it's very difficult to translate emoticons. There's no way to put them through a translator. So I was sending one to this person who is a CEO of a big company in Korea. He sent me a message and I sent a message back, and then he sent some, and then I sent an emoticon that said, I love you more each day. And I didn't know that that's what it said. You know, I thought it said something else. And then someone said, no, that says, I love you more each day. And I went, well, okay, I guess I love him more each day. And then he sent something back that was not that. But, you know, I thought, well, he knows. I'm an American and he knows that I don't speak Korean. So I'm sure he laughed at that. So if katok emojis were a window into Korean society, I think one thing that it says is that Koreans have a soft side and a sweet side inside of them that can come out in emojis. So you got this really intense work culture and really pretty stiff and very formal, and all these relationships are hierarchical and formal, but you can send these emojis around and it just shows something that's different. And I think that what it does is it expresses this side of Korean culture that it needs to come out, that is there, and that the Koreans, and again, especially men, have a difficult time expressing. You know, like I will see I'll go to a conference and there'll be lots of professional men there, you know, academics and business people, and they'll have these little cute key rings on their briefcase or their backpack. And I think, I never see that in the United States. You just would never see that. And I see it with men. And I think, oh, that's really cool. That's really cute about Koreans. Yeah. I really want to make my own emojis. I want to use cartoon figures like this one that's in the background here. And I just feel like we could make some really cool emojis. So I really would like somebody in Korea to say, okay, let's go, man. I'll make your emojis with you. And then we figure out how to get them up on KakaoTalk, right? Because I want to use them on KakaoTalk. I want to use my own. So if like, I gotta figure out how to make that happen and get them uploaded so we can sell them on KakaoTalk or give them away. It doesn't matter. So if you are out there and you're an artist and you want to make some emojis for me, I would really love to participate. 안녕하세요. Sam Richards here. We are introducing a new series on the channel and we're calling it Think Big. And what we're going to do in this series is take one specific topic and connect it with people's real experience and look at it through a sociological lens. And the goal is to slow down and think together. So these days, you know, not many people get a chance to really ask, what do I actually think? And we want to do that in this series back and forth. So viewers say what they think, I say what I think, and better understand sociology. And that is thinking big. So today we're going to start off by talking about a video that I just watched by the comedian Soo-ji. And it's this video in which she plays the role of a kindergarten teacher.
저희 하준이 피부 예민한 거 아시죠? 그래서 대본 보고 뒷처리할 때 원에서 쓰시는 짧은 싸구려 물티슈 말고
아이고 저런.
이모티콘 쓰시는 포함된 식물성 원단 물티슈를 좀 부탁드립니다.
네네네.
피할 수 없는 쓴소리의 순간 학부모님들의 한마디 한마디를 귀 기울여 듣는 민지 씨.
On one hand, it's very funny. On the other hand, it's actually kind of disturbing in a way. And what's so fascinating is there's so many people watched it. It went viral in Korea, so many of you have seen it. And I'm sure you are both laughing at it and feeling kind of sheepish or strange about it. You know, like these two things always, like how is this possible and why is this happening, and yet it's really funny. And so, you know, trying to find the space to make sense of this video. One thing I like to do on the last day of class is take questions, and I thought it would be really nice to pick out some volunteers who didn't have a chance to volunteer. My experience leaving class yesterday was a common one and has been something that I've been experiencing for my entire 43-year teaching career. And what happened was I left the classroom feeling kind of lonely. And I realized that I often feel lonely and I feel alone and I feel really, really tired. The last point about being tired, I've always thought, well, it's because I give a lot of energy in the class. You know, I'm moving around and making energy. But yesterday, that wasn't the case. I was just really sitting on a table and answering questions from students, and I felt alone. And so the other day, I had my first thoughts about why this might be happening. Why so often after class and certain situations, I feel lonely and I feel tired. And the explanation involved two things. One, it involved a sociological understanding of nunchi. And two, it involved a video that I watched by the Korean comic Soo-ji, in which she plays the role of a kindergarten teacher. I translated the video and I watched the entire thing and I found it really, really fascinating. But I want to start with this sociology of nunchi. And reading a room it's not just a Korean thing. I mean, people in every culture all over the world, we read rooms, we study people, we study things around us. And the reason for that is because people need to get along. People want social stability, and they want to be able to integrate themselves into groups because that's part of our very survival as humans. But the fact that Koreans have a word for it means that it's really, really important in Korean culture. But fitting in is the opposite of being ourselves. And in being ourselves is what really energizes us, right? So we can be who we want to be in all these situations. But by contrast, not being ourselves in social situations is a primary source of loneliness because nobody ever really gets to know who we are. So even though we're in these social situations, we're really alone because we are not being our authentic, true selves. And this is why in my culture, for example, it's not uncommon to find out that the person who's the most gifted at being in a group situation, we call them a social butterfly because the butterfly flaps its wings all over and just goes to lots of different places. It's not uncommon for us to find out that that social butterfly suffers from some kind of depression. It's like, wait, that person is depressed because that person's really social, they're happy, they're funny. Every time I see them, they're a really good listener, they're very likable. How could they possibly be depressed? But the issue is that person never reveals him or herself in these social situations, right? And the better they're able to integrate, the less of themselves that people have to actually come to know. So in my class, what I realize, of course, is that I need to be really likable to my students because students learn when their teachers are likable people. And if we're not likable, they don't learn from us, okay? So this brings me to the comic Soo-ji. What she reveals is how the success of someone in her position is really dependent on likability. So teachers in this case, and in Korea, so many parents don't make it easy to be a teacher because the teacher has to be so many things to so many parents and so many students. And every single parent has the idea that their child is special, and so you're going to make special demands of teachers. Okay, maybe not every single parent. And so this is an issue, I mean, you know this is an issue that's talked about in Korea, and it's of course one of the reasons that the video went viral in the first place is because people see something in that video that is true. And I read, for example, that half of all teachers in Korea report that they experience malicious complaints from parents. Now, maybe I would have the same thing, except that, my students are college age, and so not many parents get involved in the education of their kids in that way. But what Soo-ji does is such a great job of making fun of some of these malicious complaints. It's a serious issue. Like, for example, there are some very funny lines about, she's talking about teaching these kindergarten students about trading stocks. And I only trade blue chip stocks. I mean, the absurdity of that, right? Of course, how absurd is it really? Or the one about where I used to use a Galaxy phone, but the parents decided that it didn't have the right aesthetic. And so therefore I had to switch to an iPhone. It's absurd and hilarious at the same time. But the issue is loneliness and depression rates are really high among teachers all over the world. In fact, in the US, depression rates among teachers is double that of other professions. And I'm thinking that maybe I have a better understanding of how this is true because the teacher, as is true with many, many different people, managers, people who are engaging many different people, they have a very difficult time being themselves because they have to blend in or they have to, read the room constantly and be what other people need them to be. And that's a very, very difficult thing. So who are you? People don't get to know us. And in fact, what's really strange is that I almost never, ever feel any kind of loneliness or depression me personally, except when I leave my classroom. And it has been true since the very first class I ever taught. Because I have really high levels of nunchi, as you would say, and I'm really good at reading the room, and I'm really good at understanding what my students need and what they need to hear from me. So now, I'm really curious about what you think. These are just some ideas that I have, but think big. This new series that we're doing on the channel is really an opportunity for us to think together in this way, to engage one another, that I want to explore certain topics with you, but I need to hear from you with your comments. What I can do is kind of sort through them and then use those comments to better explain or express the sociological perspective. So I will use the comments in the next videos. 감사합니다. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. 안녕하세요, Professor Richards here. Welcome to another episode of Think Big. And first off, I really want to thank all of you for the incredible comments on the first video. There were so many comments. I was actually very surprised. And not only comments, but really very thoughtful comments. And it's what's going to allow me to respond in different ways. And so today I want to dig deeper into the sociological landscape of Korea by responding to some of the comments that people made. So many of the comments to episode 1 are about this issue of teachers being treated poorly and the stress that they feel, and there's service workers also. But right now in Korea, there's a big conversation about education and teachers, and I'm watching it because I'm reading articles. Every day I'm kind of scanning things and I'm seeing, why are we having this conversation? Like everyone knows. There's not a single comment where people are saying, listen, teachers are treated fairly and everything is fine and this isn't a problem. Nobody's saying that. And nobody's saying the opposite even. That people are saying this is a real problem. Now, first off, let me say something about this comment. This kind of certain workers and treating teachers in particular as lower status workers. Think about this. We have children, and then we send those children off to a school, which is, a school is a sacred place. Historically, schools were sacred, especially in Korea and in East Asia. This is the foundation of Confucianism. Schools are sacred places. It's where we're taking our minds, the minds of young people, the hearts of young people, the spirits of young people, and we're trying to grow them into responsible, thoughtful, mature, and caring adults who can help move society forward in positive ways. That's what schools are. That's what teachers do. And the people I know who are teachers, some people, obviously, they go into the profession because they don't know what else to do, and they say, okay, I'll be a teacher. But the teachers, the people who are really teachers, they go into the profession because they see children in this magical way. So, what happened? Certainly what happened in Korea, that these teachers go from being these really important people with whom we entrust the most sacred thing to us, which is our children, to these people who we think, as outsiders, think that we can just order them around and try to make them do the kinds of things that we think that they should do. The problem is not teachers. I mean, some teachers it is, because some teachers aren't really interested in doing their jobs. A few. But the vast majority of the teachers are not. And it's quite disturbing and problematic when a society starts critiquing the people who we've entrusted that are most precious to us, which would be our children. This comment here is from another professor, and I really like it. Because, look, it's really nice for me to hear this other professor say that they have the same experience that I do. And it shows that I'm not just alone and I'm not confused about myself. I've really struggled with this for many years. After I had been teaching for about 15 years, I really felt like I needed to stop, and I went to a Buddhist monastery for 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, at the very end, I had a chance to meet with the head of the monastery. The idea was that I had a chance to ask him a question. My question was, look, I'm a teacher, and I think my students really like me, but for some reason, I feel like I need to stop. It just doesn't feel right for me. And it's just, I don't know what to do. And he said, you have to learn from your students. Teaching is not just about giving them something. You have to get something back, and you have to learn from them. Wow, that just opened my mind in some new ways. So getting this comment from this other professor, it's not something that professors talk about very often. So this other teacher, I should say, not just professor, but anyway, it's really nice to get the comment. So thank you. I love this comment. Man, when I read it, I was like, okay, I gotta talk about this. Like, look, we don't have a single word in English that refers to people being totally drained after a day of interacting with other people. We generally say that in English. Oh, I'm exhausted, I'm really tired. When I'm working with people all day long, what I say is I'm drained. It's a different English word, and it means something a little bit different. But let me think about what this is. When you're working with people all day long, it's a unique type of emotional drainage. It's unique. I don't even have a way to describe it. It is a mind, body, spirit drain on my entire system. And the thing is, when I'm working with people all day long, like my mind doesn't get a break, because every person with whom I interact is a full, complex human being who I have to engage with emotionally and intellectually. And they're just as complex as I am. And that's just so draining. So understand, this is just a natural part of the human condition that's true all over the world. And my emotions are engaging with other people in ways that I don't even really understand what that means and what it is. So that is such a cool comment, because it really helped me, this comment helped me to understand the intensity and of this process that is happening with me all the time. So yeah, so thanks for that. This is a very cool comment. This got me thinking about a lot of different things. So first I want to say something about the good child complex, and this idea that the way to get love and support is to act according to the wishes of our parents. It's like adopt their desires as our desires, right? I adopt the desires of my parents as my own desires. So now you take this out to the level of social groups or society in general, and you have large numbers of people adopting the desires of other people in order to get support from other people, which makes a lot of sense, right? I want to fit in. I want people to like me, because what I'm most certain about in the world is that I need other human beings to help me survive, because that's part of the human condition, is we need other people to survive. So the more I can adopt the ways and the thinking of other people around me, the more I can ensure my own survival in these complex worlds, right? But the problem is, where's our true self? What's it mean? True self, right? The good child complex, the good person, the good citizen complex. What's it mean for, what is our true self then? Like, who are we and what are we? So this person says they're an ESFJ, a social butterfly, right? Well, you are hardwired to lose your own self in a way, right? Because, you've got these Myers-Briggs categories or personalities or whatever, and yours is to say, look, I'm gonna just spend my life connecting with all these people around me and not focusing deeply on my own inner self. So, it's hard, man. It's very difficult. This is this nunchi side to the, turn it up again. This is a cool question. Another one. And here's what I want to say. Life is a balance. Everything involves balance. So I have something that I really love to do, but in order to be able to do that thing that I love, I always have to do something else that's less enjoyable. That's how things are, right? You know, for me, it's grading and managing 800 people and trying to keep them honest and make sure they're doing what they're supposed to do. And I struggle with that far more than I struggle with just standing up in a room and talking to people, having conversations. Hey, so this comment here about parents' anxiety, I definitely want to talk about this because I talk to a lot of parents and I hear their anxiety and I'm always asking, like, what are you anxious about? Like, what are you afraid of? What are you afraid of? Your child's gonna be what? So it's like, oh, my child won't measure up. Like, what do you mean? My child won't get into a good school. What does that have to do with anything? What's that have to do with happiness? Maybe that's your issue. If we just ask children, what do children want? They are naturally not going to be saying, I need to get into the best school and do the best thing and make the most money. People are not like that. People are taught to be that way. In this particular case, is that teachers, they bear the cost of that. Like, parental anxiety gets transferred onto teachers, and then teachers have to live with that. This is the kind of thing that you really have to look in a mirror and say, wait, what am I afraid of? And if you're just in competition with everybody else around, then we'll acknowledge that you're just competing with all of your friends and neighbors and other people. And then you have to ask yourself, is that how I want to live? Like, is that really it? Is that the purpose of life? We've commented on it a lot. I've talked about it a lot. And maybe it needs to really be a separate think big conversation. What needs to happen for this anxiety to subside? What needs to happen for parents to feel less anxiety? And for then teachers to be able to do what we're asking teachers to do, which is help these young people be the best human beings that they could possibly be. If we're only asking teachers to help my child to score the highest score on the CSAT exam, well, then you're not asking the teacher to make my child be the best human that my child could be. And that's a very different thing. And then we have to ask ourselves, what does that say about me? Do I think that only a high score on this exam and getting into the best college is it's the only way to be a good human? I mean, so this person in this comment wrote, I look forward to your lectures diagnosing Korean society from an objective perspective. Yeah, that's what it is. So I'm going to definitely do a video just on what I think parents can do and how they can think about it. You know, if you watch me in my class, when I bring students up to the front and I have conversations with them, those are what I consider to be sacred conversations. These students they're being vulnerable. They're talking about their innermost thoughts, innermost feelings with the rest of the world. And so every moment with those students is a sacred moment for me because I want students to grow. I want them to be the best that they can be. I want them to show themselves in the most positive way to the rest of the world. Well, that's what all teachers, true teachers, are doing. Hey, so these are just the comments that I picked out, but there are so many more that I would like to talk about. And I so look forward to doing this more. And I hope that people will comment on what I'm saying because this is the way for all of us to learn more. So I want to learn from you, you learn from me. And this is a really cool series. Think big. Because we can all think big, we can think better, and we can think big. And this is what I like to do in the world, is help myself to think in bigger ways about these complex issues and help other people to do the same thing. So please make some more comments, and the long ones really have great value. I so appreciate it. Next episode 3 will be coming. And I already have it lined up. I know what we're going to do. We're going to talk about how it is that parents, we can escape from this anxiety about our kids.
It's Saturday morning, and instead of laying in bed, I find Sam out here What the heck are you doing? Can you here take this?
Oh man.
What is
I'm
this?
watching
Watching a
BTS.
movie?
I'm watching BTS.
What?
Of course I'm watching BTS. What else would I be doing?
Let's go.
And they just started Butter, which is one of my favorite songs.
No, that's my favorite song.
Oh man, dude, it's cool. It's cool. Yeah. Okay, so first off, I'm feeling so nostalgic right now because, you know, for Koreans, many Koreans have this sense that when I did that first video on BTS, that I kind of was introducing Korea to the world in different ways, and that one video that which wasn't my first video, but it's the first one that was picked up in Korea, where I said BTS was going to take over the world. And Korea was going to take over the world, and you really need to understand Korea if you want to be global. Anyway, I was really speaking for Korea, but BTS launched my career in Korea. Like, I have such a nostalgic, such a powerful relationship to them, because on one hand, I saw what they were going to become. I knew that. I knew they were going to really conquer the world, but they introduced me. Like, I owe so much to BTS for everything positive that has happened to me in Korea. And so I owe these guys. And now I'm watching them. It go to the next level in the stratosphere. I mean, here they are at the palace and in the square. And they filled the square. I mean, how many groups in the world could do that? And they're at the top of their game. I mean, I've watched so many K-pop concerts. And waiting on, this is my, there's the end of Butter. I love that. I just love the way it ends. You know, I've watched so many K-pop concerts and groups, and they're really amazing groups, but these guys, wow, it's so cool. And I've spent so much time in this space that it feels like I'm really there with them. It's really cool. So anyway, I had to wake up this morning and watch the concert, because, like, what else would I do? Oh, here comes Mic Drop. I like this song. And yeah, what else would I do? And you know what? I'm watching this and I'm seeing so many foreigners. I don't know if the cameras are just picking up foreigners, but from what I can assess, from what I'm seeing, it's like, you know, 25% of the people there are not Korean. And I don't have any idea how many are actually Chinese, so it could be more, but it's just something about just the power, international power, the drawing power, you know, and all the eyes. It's on Netflix, man. This, by the way, Koreans, you should know, this was really advertised here in the States anyway. Like, you knew. And so many people asked me if I was going to be watching this concert. Like, various people my age asked me if I was going to be watching this concert. Not only knowing that I have an interest in Korea, not knowing that I have a real interest in BTS. So, yeah, so this is big. These guys, man, they are just so on top of their game. So I think they're going to go to another level, which means K-pop is going to go to another level. So.
What's critical thing when you hear that term? What is that?
I was thinking of putting multiple solutions to solve one single problem.
A lot of solutions.
How was it to volunteer the other day?
제가 볼런티어 했을 때 진짜 재밌었고요. 뭔가 되게 좋은 경험이 된 것 같아서 진짜 좋았습니다.
Yeah, dude, that disqualifies you, man. No, listen. You applied to be in the military academy. Dude, okay, I'm gonna do something with that, man. All right, I don't know what I'm gonna do yet. Okay, we are headed off to class. And this is my street. right here that I drive down every day in my Hyundai Santa Fe, straight from Korea. And right now is when I start to really empty my mind. Like I don't think about class at all, and I don't want to think about what I'm doing. In fact, I often even kind of forget what I'm doing until the moment when I start class and I look at my sheet and I think, oh, okay, here's the topic, where it comes up on the overhead.
Why is that?
I think because I want to feel like I'm really creative. And I can be most creative when I'm being spontaneous. Spontaneity is the best thing. It's like improv. You know, I like to do improv. And so I trust my ability to come up with interesting thoughts or questions. And I was just kind of doing some final preparations on the class, and I thought of a couple really interesting questions that would be fun to ask students, but I thought, you know, and they're interesting in this moment, but when I'm standing in front of the class, it's very possible that I wouldn't find it interesting, so I didn't write them down to remember them. But I know that I'll come up with something, you know, so it's cool. In preparing every class, I'm in my office right here, just sitting at my desk, writing, taking some notes, playing with a PowerPoint, thinking, looking up data. And then, you know, it usually takes me a couple days to conceptualize a class. And then once I have it, I print everything out and, you know, put it all in my bag and drive up to campus. And the campus is about 1 mile from my house. So it's a very simple drive. And it's always such a good feeling when I'm going up there. You know, I feel like I'm doing this cool mission. Yeah, I look forward to it. I'm walking into this building here for 30 years, doing the same thing. It's crazy. I used to teach my class in this room when I first started teaching. And it's so much smaller. Imagine. We used to have lots of conversations in here without a microphone because it's so much smaller. But everything changes. This semester will mark the end of my 43rd year of teaching. 43 years. And so I'm in my 42 and a half beginning. And it's really big because there are so many things happening in the world. I have so many topics to talk about that I'm having a very difficult time deciding what it is that I want to discuss in class. Now, these are all the students waiting here. They're students from my class. Yeah. Yo, what's up? This is the team.
Yeah. Are you recording lecture too?
This is what we do every day. These are the catacombs here, down below the classroom. Well, we all want to know, really, in a way, what's behind the scenes. Yeah. Here we are. Here's the team. Look at them. Yeah. This is the back room. Here it is, now. So there's a class going on right now. This is our stream getting ready to go. The class was called Social 19 going back maybe 50 years. That was the number that they gave to it at Penn State. It used to be called Race and Ethnic Relations in America. But I started teaching about the whole world, so I changed the title to Race, Ethnicity, and Culture in the World. That's where the title came from. SOC 119 means, SOC is for sociology. Yeah, so, and 119 is just a number that they gave to it. And it's interesting that it's also the number in Korea for the emergency number. Here it's 911 and there it's 119. And so maybe that's in a way what my class is. You know, my class is like, it's an emergency. Hey, to students, wake up, wake up, think for yourself. This is an emergency situation. 34 years. Dude, I didn't ask her because she's Asian, all right? Because she's going to be good at math, so just know that. Which is a stereotype anyway. Are you good at math, by the way? You said, I'm like, are you good at math? And you're like, which means you probably scored like 800 on the SATs because you're Korean. So you're going to be like, you're going to downplay how good you are. Did you take the student exam?
I did.
How'd you do on the math part?
I didn't do that good.
Yeah, okay, but what do you mean? What's not that good? The score's probably higher than 95% of the people in this room.
So it's the perfect score is 100.
Yeah.
And like I got 80 something.
80 something?
Yes.
Wait, 81 or 89? There's a big difference. Because she's going to downplay, all right, everything. Because she can't be like, yeah, I'm really smart. I'm really good at math, 80 what?
But honestly, I'm really not that good.
All right, I got you.
88.
88. Usually what happens is some question will come into my mind and I'll wonder, I wonder what other people are thinking about that. And I wonder what my students are thinking about that, young people, And then once it hooks in my mind, then I'm curious. I'm like, oh, God, I gotta ask them about this. The other day, I was looking at this information about how students around the world, how good they are at math. And I was thinking, I wonder what it's like for people in Singapore or China or Korea or a country where they're really good at math. Like, what does that mean for them? Like when you say, hey, I'm really good at math in Korea or in Singapore, does that mean the same thing that it means in the United States if someone says I'm really good at math? So that's just a question that came up in my mind, and I thought, oh my God, I get to go ask people this question. So that's how I come up with topics. One that I am is having a sense, like an intuitive sense of the questions that other people are interested in. So when I come up with a question and I think, whoa, that's a really interesting question, if it's something I'm going to talk about in class, I just know that people will be interested in the answer to this question. And so sometimes they're issues that people fight a lot over, and sometimes they're just questions that people are curious about. And for me, an edgy topic is one that people are fighting about in the media somewhere in the world, either here in the United States or other places in the world, right? So I have to be really careful about so that I could easily say things that just inflame some group of people. Or I could ask a question to students and they would answer that question in a way that would really anger lots of people, So I'm always trying to be careful about what those really, edgy, I say the word edgy, those topics are, yeah. So this is the real behind the scenes. This is my locker. Hey, by the way, here's two different drawings that have been done by two different Koreans. Anyway, this is where I keep all of my goods, my microphone and where I kind of make everything happen behind the scenes. I think we are ready to rock and roll. Who are Bavik? Bavik, the guy that overcommits. All right. Okay, you're good. They'll give you a name tag.
Yeah, a lot more than anywhere I lived before that. Yeah, interesting.
The point being, when I started teaching, I used to have, I'd have notes with things on them and like PowerPoint slides, and I'd put like a PowerPoint up. Then you would copy everything down, and then students, like in this class, and then I would read the next thing, and you would copy it down, and I mean, it was just like, because I thought what students needed was information. And my job was to give you information. And because, I'm the professor, and so that's what I do. But then one day I was teaching, I was right up here, I think I was sitting on the table, and I was in the middle of reading notes, and I almost fell asleep. Like, I literally almost fell asleep. And I went, oh, hell no, man, I can't. I'm not doing this anymore. So everything just shifted. And then slowly I started realizing the magic, the awesomeness is here, not here. And now the class is built around you and not me. And my job is to ask questions. My job is to get volunteers from the class and bring you up, and then we have conversations. Okay? And honestly, I don't know why more people don't teach the way I teach. Because we all know that students don't remember information. We give them, they copy information down, and they cram it into their minds, and they send it back to us on an exam, and then they empty their minds at the end of a semester. So I really started to ask my students lots of questions. And also, I was really bored talking. Like, when you talk, it gets kind of boring, but it's never boring to listen to students. I think one difference in my class is that students feel pretty comfortable to speak, and that's because they see me listening to them and not judging them, not telling them that they're right or that they're wrong. And as long as I don't do that, and they see that I am deeply interested in what they have to say, then they're much more open about talking. And they will talk to the world. And the more I talk to them about the fact that the cameras are in the room and people are watching from around the world, and people around the world want to hear what they have to say, the more my students want to volunteer and participate and have a conversation with the world. I don't have any way of thinking about the world that I think my students should adopt. There's nothing at all. My job as a teacher is to ask every question. And at this point in my life, after 42 and a half years of teaching, I really don't have anything that I want to teach people. I want to create a space where they can teach one another.
You visited Korea a couple of times. Would you want to try these kind of classes in Korea as well?
So I've been to Korea 15 times, right? And growing. Each time has been an awesome experience. I really want to bring Social 19 to Korean classroom and invite Koreans to come and participate, to volunteer, to come up on stage. We've done this already at Konkuk University, and we did it with high school students and undergraduate students from Konkuk. And it's really fascinating. But I want to do it also with adults. So I'd like to bring a wide range of Koreans together in a room and have these conversations and film it. And have Lori there, and together we ask questions, because she's really good at asking questions. Here's a message for Koreans, anybody who's watching this. I really want to come and do some Social 19 classes in Korea and have this experience and have Koreans volunteer, invite them on stage, and have these kinds of open conversations, and give myself the opportunity to ask questions and see what people say. Young people, middle-aged people, and older people, Koreans of all backgrounds. So what would be really cool is if you could say in the comments, if you're watching this, to say, hey, that would be really interesting. First off, is it interesting? Secondly, would you come? Third, would you volunteer? Do you think you might volunteer? And fourth, are there any topics that you feel like, oh, this would be a really cool topic for Sam Richards to talk about in Korea with a Korean audience? We're going to have a little contest. Claude is also taking it. So we're going to see who does the best and who's fastest. And who do you think won the contest? Claude or the Koreans?
The Koreans won.
Claude won because he was done in like 3 minutes.
My neighbor, more credits, I think the Koreans.
Anyone but Koreans.
ABK? Yeah, well, it was Claude. There it is, right there, my friend. 5 out of 5. That really says something. You know what I mean? This isn't just about doing it in the classroom. This is actually doing it out into the world. Like, why wouldn't you do that? And why would I try to compete with that kind of intellectual power? The world's coming. It's coming at you fast, and it's exciting. Man, this is the most exciting time ever to be alive right now. And those of you who are not creative and you're just here because you're trying to get your exam to get your diploma, you're in trouble, man. You're in trouble because you're not going to adapt. Okay, I'm going to take these Suning questions. Let's go. Man, these exams really require me to give full concentration, and that's really not kind of how my brain works. Oh my God, I thought I had the answer, and then okay, shows the percentage of U.S. teenagers who spend time with. Okay, that's it, done. Took me 13 minutes, and I have no idea how I did, but we will see. I'm a little bit nervous. Well, not nervous per se, but I'm thinking I probably got 3 out of 5, and maybe I got 4 out of 5. There's a far out chance I got 5 out of 5, but it's not very likely. Okay, so the first one, I got that correct. The second one, I got that one correct. All right. The third one, oh man, oh gosh. Okay, missed that one. I'm down to, I missed that. Well, it came down to 2 answers on that one, and I chose the wrong one. But that was the correct one was my second guess. Yes, okay, I got that one right. Whew, all right. Yeah, that was easy, I got that right. Okay, so I got 4 out of 5. Here's what I'm thinking. So Claude AI system got 5 out of 5, and it did it in just a little over 3 minutes. First off, it's no surprise to me, but also I think it tells us something about how we should be educating our students. Actually, it tells us how we should not be educating our students. Hey, so we're going to talk about education and AI. Education has generally been built around giving you information. You show up and somebody imparts on you wisdom and ideas and knowledge. You write it all down, you memorize it, and then you take exams. And so what we do is we set these systems up so a few number of people are allowed to walk through the doorway, and then it just makes everything a lot easier. Things get more competitive, the exams get harder and harder. So, we have in this need to distinguish between people, in the US, of course, we have the SAT and the ACT, but every country has its own college entrance exam, and some of these exams are really tough. So listen, what I have, so we're going to talk about AI, but first we're going to have a little contest. So here's the deal. I have 5 questions from the Korean version of the exams called the Sunin exam. And they're each going to take it. I need some other volunteers. We're going to do a competition to see if you're smarter than 2 Korean high school students, all right? Okay? So you guys, you go out in the hallway, you're going to take the test. We're going to time you. Go as quickly as you can and try to get it correct. So Claude is also taking it. So we're going to see who does the best and who's fastest. All right, so can we have our volunteers? Okay, take a look at these headlines. These are like really serious headlines. When you read them, what comes to mind for you?
It's kind of scary because you go into school studying something that's respectable, and then you can leave school and your job just won't exist anymore. Mm-hmm. And that's really terrifying for us, and we're just kind of in a weird time in the world, I think.
When I first got into Penn State, I was a computational data science major. And then I ended up switching because actually exactly this. I felt that I'm hearing people computer science majors or just people in that field talk about how for lack of better words, they're fucked because AI just is gonna take their job, because we can't do things as fast as the computer can.
Well, as a computer science major, I think I'm as well. So I'm.
So wait, the title of the class is Jeff, we're changing the title of the class to We're All right. Is that, will that pass the YouTube?
So I'm going back farming.
Yeah, all right. Katie, when you think about the increased use of AI in the future, and you think about your education, because you're young, are you more excited than concerned, more concerned than excited, or somewhere in between?
I think I'm more concerned than excited because I think the use of AI really like advances the quality or enhances the quality of everyone's work overall because it's been so popular and like it's a lot more like convenient in terms of everything. But because it is like accessible for everyone, that also higher the standard for everyone because everyone's work is going to be like somewhat decent and like better than average, right? So you have to stand out even more and kind of like break that limit of AI creation.
What are you most optimistic about?
Less workload, maybe.
Okay.
Because like the basic stuff, AI can do it for us.
Okay.
Yeah.
So less brain power, like having to take
Yeah.
tests like that, having to
Like-
do things like you just did?
Like for example, when I use AI personally, I think it's like I would have my ideas generated, but then I wouldn't know how to assemble it. So I would ask AI to like organize it for me. And that's something that like I'm not good at it. So like AI can maybe do that part for me and it really like reduces the workload. Like less time.
Hey, by the way, speaking of this, word came in. Who do you think won the contest?
I feel like the Koreans won.
I feel like Claude won because he was done in like 3 minutes.
I gave my neighbor more credits. I think the Koreans.
The Koreans? What do you think?
Anyone but Korean.
ABK? Yeah, well, it was Claude in the fastest amount of time. Yeah, pretty amazing, actually. That really says something. You know what I mean? I mean, right here, think about that. And so when you think, this isn't just about doing it in the classroom, this is actually doing it out into the world. Like, why wouldn't you do that? And why would I try to compete with that kind of intellectual power? You understand what AI is, right? I mean, fundamentally, it is about reproducing the human mind. So if you can get 10 minds, you can get 100 minds, 1,000 brains, 1,000,000 brains, 10 million brains, you're going to use that. And then not only do you have that, but you have then take all that power and put it behind robots that we create. This is artificial intelligence. This is where we're going at 2 levels. And it's really exciting. You're like, man, my responsibility is to make sure that these folks are prepared for this. What could Penn State do? What would you do if you were in that position? Think bigger. Think about what kind of consciousness do you need students to have? What kind of like day-to-day stuff? Like what kind of like I have the idea that Aria, that you as a sociology major sociology is a field that will really prepare people for this new world that's happening. You know, in the past we were just like, go take these exams and do these things and get the grades and and jump through the hoops and we give you your diploma and now go out on the world. But the world's different now. So like what could Penn State do to make it more likely that you all would succeed?
I feel like we should have a semi-required course everybody take. It's like a seminar type of deal, so you actually practice.
Okay, let me ask you this question. Do you think I'm prepared for AI?
No.
Yeah?
Probably not.
You see, like, kind of how I think and where I go.
In your field, probably you're going to be better than AI, but in the rest of the field, probably not.
Wait, this is going to sound kind of mean, but I don't mean it to
You don't have to be mean. Dude, I'm old.
I don't mean
Are you going to say I'm old?
I wasn't going to word it like that. It's just like, I feel like our parents, I've seen the way that my parents' generation on top of that. It was kind of just like, I feel like you guys will use AI to like the bare minimum of where we started.
Dude, I want to just show you something. Look at these apps on my phone. I have more apps on my phone and I use them all, man. I can tell you there's probably nobody in this room that is as proficient on this thing as I am. I talk to people, I communicate with people all over the world in languages and all sorts of things. Dude, can I say this? I am so ready for AI. I am so adaptable. I'm so change ready. Anything that happens, I'm golden. The biggest change in the world, I'm like, bring it on, man, because I'm ready. I'm not afraid of anything. I am like, whatever happens, I'm going to adapt. If I have to return to painting houses or digging ditches, I can do that. I spent my childhood digging ditches. I'm ready, man.
Well, I mean, in that case, I guess so, but how old are you?
Not every old person.
Not old person, but like not every like adult over the age of like 40. I'm sorry.
You know why?
I'm sorry.
No, you want to know why?
Yeah.
Yeah. Y'all want to know why? Because at some point in time, you stop thinking, you stop growing, you stop being creative, and you stop being curious. And a big part of that are these exams that you take in school, that you just are jumping through the hoops, taking exams because you think you got to do that, just like we took the exam earlier, and you stop the curiosity. And it's like, dude, curiosity goes to the bitter end. And I think Penn State, for example, maybe what Penn State could do, so this is me talking to you all, do a double down on curiosity and creativity. Doesn't matter whether it's art or literature or comp sci or anything. It's just double down on that, man. And those of you who are not creative and you're just here because you're trying to get your exam to get your diploma, you're in trouble, man. You're in trouble because you're not going to adapt. You might as well quit school and go be an apprentice with a plumber or an electrician or somebody of that nature who's going to give you a skill that you will be able to use to survive.
Can I change my answer real fast?
Go ahead, change your answer. Dude.
Well, because now that I'm actually thinking about it, I feel like I'm sorry that I keep calling you old. I feel bad, but like your generation.
No.
Like,
you can call me old, dude.
Like,
I'm old. I'm 65. I'm like, come on, you ready?
Wait, really?
I'm 65. I'm really old. Yeah.
But I feel like your generation has had to adapt so many more times than like we have. Like you, like technology, the phones, all that. So now that I'm thinking about it, why wouldn't you guys be able to adapt one more time to like AI and like above that?
You know why? Because most people of my generation, and I can speak with at least one other person of my generation who's in the room, so many people around us, they stop living. They stop being creative. They stop being interested in life. And they're doing their thing. And it's like, if you do that, you're in trouble, man. And I got students, by the way, keep this in mind as you think about college. I got students who have stopped living. They've stopped being creative. It's like, stop, man. The world's coming. It's coming at you fast, and it's exciting. Man, this is the most exciting time ever to be alive right now. But you got to harness it, and you can't be afraid of it.
I think sociology is a great degree because it kind of teaches you how to think creatively and how to think critically. I think that a lot of the time, AI has kind of killed our critical thinking skills and just technology in general because we don't have a lot of opportunities to just have open intellectual conversations.
Yeah.
Humans have emotions, and emotions drive our creative thinking. They drive our decisions every single day, all the time. AI does not do that. We tell it what to do for us. It gives us something generated, and then we run with it.
So you got to learn to use it in a way that allows that to continue to happen.
Yeah. There's really nothing like the human experience and the emotions that drive it. So
I got that. What do you think about what I said about being alive and the optimism and the possibilities?
Okay, I'm gonna be mean. Because you're old, that means you have some saving to support yourself through to be creative. Some of us don't have that luxury, so.
Yeah, but you do. You come from money, man. You're from China.
Okay,
Your parents have money.
I'm somewhat rich.
Yeah, you got it. All right. Katie, what do you think about, you get the final thing. What do you think about what I said about being older and being, no, you're speaking for the masses, so you're good.
Well, I actually think it's more beneficial to be older in today's society that's like conquered by AI because you experience a life without AI, without any devices, any internet, but like you still manage to survive. And the fact that you have those skills means like you're more than prepared.
Dude, I love that.
Right?
I mean, we do these exams because we have to filter people out. In Korea, for example, you can't let everybody go to med school. Well, everybody can't do that. And the fact is, just given the nature of students, high school students in Korea, half of them could do well at the Sky universities and could do well in med school. Okay, because you're very highly educated, but you got to figure out how to get that half number down to a very small number of people. And that's why we have exams like this. It's just to make it easy and give us some rational basis that everybody will accept. Nobody's going to revolt. But it's probably not very wise because the future's coming at us, man. It's a new world coming. The skills that we get from taking exams like this are probably not the skills that are going to lead people to thrive. And frankly, I have the sense that Koreans don't necessarily want to hear this because, you've been sort of going down this road a long time, and families have been and students have been putting a lot of stake behind this, a lot of hours, a lot of sweat, a lot of tears. But the fact is, things have changed, and it may not be the best way to go, and it may not be the best things that we can do to provide for our children and grandchildren. But anyway, I am above average, 4 out of 5. That's good. I just want to be above average. I never want to be the best, just above average. And that's where I want to be.